into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start the show by being transparent. And yesterday, my bet on the game did not win. I had over 222 and a half, but I still scraped profit just because before the season started, I bet the Celtics to win the East at plus 175. So small profit on the day. Would have loved to go 2-0, but I'll take scraping profit rather than losing any day. So Veno, it's nice to have you back here. Looks like Nick's orange right there. How's NBA been treating you? How you doing today?
Well, NBA was terrific, Skee, until yesterday. It was like the first losing day I've had in ages. 0-2, and the Pacers team total over, which has been a fallback for me in a lot of instances through these playoffs. Over 107.5 did not get there. 102, a little angry with that. 196 points with 8:57 left to go in the game, and they can't score 12 in the final 9 minutes. But we've seen it over and over with them in that particular series. The last four were a disaster. And then I had a small play like you, small play on over, full game over, which didn't get there. So we had an 0-2, look to bounce back today. The overall has been great, still number one at Wagertalk since April the 1st, up 46 units. So we'll look to continue and do a little better here today.
Yeah, let's we both can do better here today. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you. Says hopefully all is well. Hopefully everybody had a profitable night. We're gonna try to do a little bit better here today. And he says, don't forget to hit the like button for the show. I still haven't seen a winner yet. Joshua says, Scotty fixed Foster special tonight. We'll talk about it. There we go. I mean, are we being hard asses or?
I don't know. We got two oranges listed there. I don't know. We talk about this.
We have two oranges, huh?
We do.
So what's the other one listed as?
We have like a light orange, and then we have Nick's orange.
Okay. So you got to be specific. The list has been put out there.
Hurry!
We already let you guys know.
Nick's orange, quick.
S-Talk says it's Scotty the executioner today. Says he's getting them boys out of there. Not seeing more guesses. Let's see. Am I missing any oranges before we get started? Or Nick's orange, rather. No, you gotta be specific, man. And I'm not gonna post the shirt list in here every day. I post it for the members. The members know what the shirt list color is. You should be guessing specific colors. And if you watch the show enough, you should, pick up on what the colors are called.
Lots of orange.
Whether you watch or are a member, you should know. This was late. This was after the show started. So I guess we got to roll it over. No NBA tomorrow, but maybe we'll talk WNBA. So whenever Veno's on next, we'll have that rolled over, and somebody will get lunch and dinner, or however you want to spend the $50. So Veno, let's get to it a little bit today. Today we got 3 WNBA games. Kyle will be joining us shortly for some NBA, and I figure we'll do some quick hitters because, like I said before, my main focus is still NBA, watching those games a few times per game, and just slowly getting into the WNBA. Soon they'll have my full attention. But Mercury and Connecticut opened up Mercury and Sun opened up Sun -6.5. They're now an 8-point favorite, and the total continues to climb. Every time I look, it's higher and higher and higher. Looks like 167.5. There's even a 168.5 at a shop. So make sure you line shop depending on what you like. For the injury report, Shug Sutton is game time. Don't like seeing that. She's actually doubtful, and Rebecca Allen out along with Griner. My thought here, I feel like Shug is important for what the Mercury do. A great backup point guard to have. I love her in the pick and roll. I love how she, sets everybody up on offense. So I think she's a big miss. I think Rebecca Allen is also a big miss. This is Phoenix on the front end of a back-to-back. I believe they play the Liberty tomorrow. So that always makes me nervous. If this game does get ugly, do they just sit some of their players and rest them for tomorrow? That's always in my mind. So I can understand, I guess, in that aspect why Connecticut's spread is going up. Connecticut is also the much better team, and they're at the house where they play really well. So I understand that. I think if I'm betting this game, Vino, I would agree with the total, and I might even want to cut it in half to the first half over, for the reasons I said about Phoenix throwing in the towel. But I can only see points in this game. We know Phoenix is not very good defensively, and if I'm not mistaken, every game except for one for Connecticut has gone over. Yeah, 4-1 to the over. So lean over here with the market. How do you see it?
I would have to see it the same way, Skee. I mean, it's hard to play Phoenix Mercury under. That's for sure. Fastest paced team in the WNBA, or maybe Dallas is, but they're 1-2, and they just played each other the other night and played an over. The problem for Phoenix, I think, is going to be what the problem for a lot of teams is Connecticut's so good rebounding the basketball on the interior, second chance points and whatnot. I think I saw best offensive rebounding team, third best defensive rebounding team, or maybe vice versa. Phoenix doesn't really hit that category with them. Phoenix will try to speed them up, and Connecticut just doesn't get sped up. We're going to talk about a game in a little bit here, Skee, another WNBA, where, Connecticut just played a pace team and slowed them right down. So going to be hard for Phoenix unless they're making shots. If they're making shots from the perimeter, different story. Always worry about Diana Taurasi in the state of Connecticut to put on a show. People probably come there to see her as much as they come to see the sun tonight. So I would probably look at the over. Might have gotten somewhat out of reach because Connecticut's involved here. However, like you said, they have gone over in almost every single one of their games. They just play such good defense. Makes me worry a little bit about playing that over. I don't have a play on the game either way, but if I had to, I would likely lean toward the Connecticut side and toward the a little bit toward the over. I don't even know. Cutting it in half, maybe. I'm not even sure, Skee. But I couldn't look under in Phoenix. I think I'm probably better off saying it that way. I couldn't look under in Phoenix.
Oh, I'm muted. Okay, y'all didn't need to hear that anyway, because the cheese monster was getting me.
Something was going on.
Yeah, cheese monster was getting me. And I had somebody come up to me in Westgate and was like, "What's up with this cheese stuff?" I had to explain myself. But let's keep moving. I know we got Kyle coming on. I don't want to keep him waiting too long, and I just wanted to quick touch these WNBA games. Next, we have Sparks and Fever, and these teams just played less than a week ago. You now have in Fever, we're minus 1 or something like that, minus 1.5. Now you have them open as a 5.5 point favorite, come back down to 4.5, and the total, not much movement. I'll say this: whenever I see the Fever laying points, that's going to catch my attention because they're not a team I think that should be doing that very often. Now, with that said, kind of how we laid out this game last time we talked, Rob, was exactly how it went. We continue to see Indiana, take, teams throw the first punch. They're playing good for the first quarter, first half. They kill them, and Fever just creep back into the game in the second half. We've seen it consistently. Fever, 2-5 ATS in the first half, but 4-3 overall. So that speaks to it. And the Sparks are the exact opposite. They start fast and they kind of fade out as the game goes. So I think after losing to the Fever last game, especially, and just getting points here, I would go with the Sparks first half. And the best number I see is +3. How do you feel about that, Veno?
Yeah, I mean, like I said last time, when the Sparks are involved, I have a really tough time either way. I will say this: the Sparks have spent the majority of time at home. Indiana spent the majority of time on the road. Now Indiana gets to be on their home floor, I think only for the third time with Caitlin Clark. LA is going to travel. They haven't traveled this season, this distance. They've been on the West Coast for almost everything. So maybe an advantage Indiana where scheduling is concerned. However, you'd like to consider Los Angeles in a little bit of a revenge situation here. I think the way you laid it out, Skee, is probably the best as far as in-game is concerned. take a shot first half with LA. But more than that, probably second half with Indiana. I think that's been the strongest of the two, and feel like at home that could really work to their advantage here. So maybe Indiana in-game second half would make the most sense to me.
And that makes sense to me as well. So let's move on over to the last game. And shout out to Nucky over there in the six. Says 2026 WNBA coming to the six. Yeah. Always good to see them expanding. And pretty soon, or I'm not going to go that far. I was going to say they have as many teams as the NBA, but they're increasing. I love to see that. Last game for today is Storm and Sky. And not much movement on the spread. It did open 3.5-point favorites for Seattle, dropped 1 point, and the total raised 1 point to 160 or 1.5 to 165. This one, I have the least, my opinion is kind of the least out of the three. I just don't think the Storm are playing where they're capable at yet. And I'm always nervous to bet on them until I start to see it consistently. And the Sky have been surprisingly really good. I think they've covered every single game. So that's probably why you have, the line even going down more to where they are pretty close to having to win the game. I would roll with the Sky, but this is probably a game my least likely game to bet out of the three. How do you feel about it, Veno?
I'll stand up for a Skee because it's the only one I played.
There you go.
I took the total. I took the total over 165 because just a couple of things that I noticed here. One, the Sky is playing with pace, and the Sky forces turnovers. And it's an interesting matchup here because Seattle is the second worst team at turning the ball over in the league so far. And the Sky is the third best team in points off of turnovers. So you have a nice matchup style advantage there. The Storm are playing with more pace lately. The 101 that they put up against Washington, and again, it's Washington, but they shot it extremely well. Probably can't duplicate that. But I think both of these teams are playing with a little more pace. They rank 4th and 5th in the WNBA in that particular category. For Chicago, they're the worst defensive rebounding team in the league, Skee, and it seems to me Seattle can get second chance points here. And they're also second to last in 3-point defense. So really what they are is a team on the defensive side that forces turnovers. And if they don't, you're going to score on them, which everybody has. But the reason why I played over is because they got 82 against Connecticut in a slow down game. Chicago wanted to run. Connecticut stalled that game. Potential points wise, I won't get into all the numbers here because we want to get Kyle on, but Chicago has ranked right up there this season as far as potential points in their games are concerned. I think you got a lot of opportunity here for scoring. They got plenty of scorers on the floor. This total came down a little bit, I think, because there was a question mark next to Diamond DeShields for about an hour and a half. And then I just read she's probable. She's going to play again. So with her in there, I like both of these teams to run. I like it up and over 160, 165.
Derek in the chat agrees with your look, and I do too. After hearing you break it down, and they did look a little bit better in their last game as far as the Storm. And I agree that you got some bucket getters on the other side as well. So I think the over does look like a good play in this Storm and Sky game. So good stuff, Rob Veno. And S. says, you don't want Kyle on. No, it's about that time. We finished up with the NBA. We'll move it on over. But let's bring in my guy, Kyle, here.
Whoa.
Oh, super zoomed in.
I got it. There we go. What's up?
What up? Appreciate you joining the show or taking the time to come on.
Yeah, if I was S. I wouldn't want me on either after what happened. I mean, the other night, S. He stood his ground on Yankees money line. It was a bad bet. I respect him for coming back in and owning his bad bet, though.
Yeah, it's always you can always respect somebody who does that. I gotta ask you, Kyle. You've been locked in on that baseball, like I've been saying. You've been dropping some winners in here.
I went 5-0-1 on Saturday, then went 0-4 yesterday. So went 0-4 yesterday.
That's always the worst.
Well, gave almost every single dollar back. Yes. Well, actually, no, not every single, but a big chunk of it.
Well, just asking, no pressure. Was there anything on the diamond that maybe?
Oh, I'm loaded up today. Yeah. What do you want? You want something high risk, or are you trying to play it safe here? Take your pick. Take your pick. I got it
all. Let's go with high risk. I feel like we can get a nice juicy play. Angels.
Okay, I got the Angels at plus 160. Now, again, this is super high risk. It's plus 160 for a reason. They're playing the Yankees. But you got Nestor Cortez pitching. A couple things about Nestor Cortez. One, he's a lefty, as I'm sure you know. But two, he's not nearly as reliable on the road. And this Angels lineup, it's not getting talked about because Ohtani's gone. Mike Trout is hurt. They are crushing left-handed pitching. They are the most under the radar. They are producing against lefties. They crush every lefty starter they see. So you got Nestor Cortez making a road start where he's not as good against the Angels lineup that crushes lefties. And on the other side, you got Griffin Canning. Now, I know that's what's going to keep a lot of people off this bet is Griffin Canning pitching against the Yankees lineup. But actually, it's really left-handed bats that give Griffin Canning all kinds of problems. Yankees are really righty heavy. It's only going to be 3 lefties in the lineup for the Yankees tonight. So at plus 160 with the home team in a matchup where I think the Angels are going to rock Cortez. I think it's worth the shot, and I took it. Look, of course, that's thoughts on the Yankees. He'll bet the Yankees at minus 290 and swear.
It's always beef with S-Dot and Kyle, apparently.
Yeah, I mean it's a great better and a bad better. It's plain as simple.
Well, a nice plus 160 was it on that?
I got plus 160 on ESPN bet. I'm pretty sure it's down to like plus 145, plus 150 now.
All right, that's a nice juicy one, and like I said, he's been dropping off those winners over here. So,
and if you're looking for a safer one, it's a little square, but I think Cleveland money line's a good play tonight. They're coming off a loss in Coors Field, and you got Tristan McKenzie making the start, coming off his first bad start in like a month. He was dealing for 4 or 5 straight starts. He's coming off a bad one against the Mets. The Mets are a team that can hit righties. So now he's pitching against the Rockies, the team that doesn't hit righties. Their numbers are always inflated because they play in Coors Field. So you got a better team with a significant starting pitching advantage because Feltner's pitching for the Rockies. He's not very good. And then when it comes to the bullpens, the Rockies, not only is their bullpen awful, but they're gassed as hell. So the price is definitely a little sketchy. Should be closer to minus 155. I got it at minus 130. It's definitely a little bit of a square play, but I think it's the right play, and I'm on Cleveland.
All right, so he gave you a high risk.
I like the Reds too. I could go all day. Like I'm loaded up. I'm loaded up in baseball tonight.
Let me ask you a question. I heard you say it's kind of a square play. So do you think baseball is more like, do you think it's different for different sports as far as like the sharp plays hit more in baseball or basketball? Or
when I say it's a square play, I don't mean like, oh, it's a trap or anything weird like that. I'm just saying I look at that and I think it should be closer to like minus 155, minus 160. So clearly whoever is setting these lines, they're comfortable playing against a lot of Cleveland action. That doesn't necessarily mean I don't always play it. It's just something. It's kind of like when you see that Kansas City Chiefs on the road against Denver and it's 3.5, and you're like, like what's going on here? So the price is a little sketchy. I wasn't inferring that's some kind of trap or anything like that. Like I said, I did play Cleveland and I like it, but the price is definitely a little bit scary. That's all.
I got you. Look at S-Dot showing a little bit of love here. With all jokes aside, I highly recommend Kyle, Toast, and Beaver on their MLB picks, unless it's against the Yankees.
Yeah, he's been blindly betting the Yankees. You know what? It's paying him out, though. And I actually was riding the Yankees with them that whole series. And then on that last day, on Sunday, he knows what day. I took the Padres at plus money. He hated it. We all know the tragic end of that.
Well, I can't, I love hearing you talk baseball. And I can't wait to join you. So after All-Star break, I'll be right there talking with you. And
I'm about to slate because I need to be able to pass if I don't like it. The option to pass, I need it. That's how I feel. I need sample size because I feel like I'm going to win more than I lose, but I'm going to lose. And with these one basketball games, it's like, well, shit, I can't have my whole night riding on this one thing. Like I need a slate.
I feel you on that. I guess now, though, it's time to talk about that one game.
Yeah, I'll pass.
You know what's surprising to me? We're talking about lines. Open Dallas -3, down to -1.5 now. Something's not sitting right with me about this line if I'm liking Dallas. Maybe it's just because Lively got hurt and they're going to be without him. But I did see Maxi Kleber could return here in Game 4. He's a game-time decision. And like I said before the series, I think he could be a big deal, especially if they don't have Lively. So Minnesota hasn't had an answer, no matter what they've tried defensively.
I think they did have an answer in the last game, though.
Okay, so you saw something you like, and it sounds like you might like them today.
I mean, I am going to bet Minnesota. I wouldn't go as far to say I like them, but I am going to bet them. But what you just said, that's the reason I jumped in. I shouldn't have cut you off. My bad. But you said
No, you good.
they haven't, or the wording you used was they haven't shown us anything or something like that. In Game 3, we actually saw them right the wrongs. They brought the rebounding battle back. I think they ended up winning the rebounding battle by 1, but basically they weren't getting beat on the glass. They outscored Dallas in the paint. Like what we were seeing in games 1 and 2 didn't happen anymore. But what did happen in Game 3? Dallas shot 50% from outside and Minnesota shot 30%. It doesn't matter which two teams are playing. It could be Celtics, Hornets. If one shoots 50% from 3 and the other one shoots 30, the team that shoots 50% is going to win the basketball game 90% of the time. I mean, it's a make or miss league. So if you take the outside shooting out of it from Game 3, I think Minnesota was the better team. It's kind of and I think that's maybe why we're seeing the line drop a little bit, as people are looking at the underlying numbers and rewatching that game and thinking, hey, Dallas didn't beat the shit out of these guys in this team. Their shots were falling and Minnesota's weren't. If the 3-point shooting was flipped in that game, Minnesota wins by 18, 20 points. So I really like the way Minnesota played in Game 3. And as far as how I feel about this series, there's just so much, hate to use the word variance, but it could go so many different ways. I feel like I should just take whoever's getting the points. I took Dallas in Game 1, Dallas in Game 2. Then I took Minnesota in Game 3, which lost. But I'm going to take Minnesota here. And this is crazy, and I don't want anyone to take any credence to this. But, like, has this ever happened? 2 sweeps in the conference finals? There's no way that happens, right? And now I'm not saying that's a reason to bet. Don't. I'm just saying that's a little crazy, right? Both sweeps in the conference finals? No way. Now, I'm, again, not saying bet it for that reason. I'm just saying, like, what the hell? Like, they're going to win, right? There's no way.
What do you think about it, Veno?
I think, look at Kyle bringing conspiracy theory to the forefront here. Oh, man. Reading some of the comments that went by, Skee, I mean, they're kind of right, but can you count on it? I must have saw 3 or 4 guys say Cat has to show up. And
they're talking about him in his 1,500 shots a day.
Oh, my God. And then, as part of Kyle's analysis, he says if you flip the 3-point shooting, and you flip the 3-point shooting by Karl Anthony Towns making one. I had that clown the other night over 19.5 points, and he drove me nuts. He absolutely drove me nuts. There can't be a softer 7 foot, and we know it, right, Skee? This is where I should just put the gun to my own head because I know it going in, but I thought, he hasn't shot well 2 in a row. He's still going to get volume. I think he had like 16, 18 attempts. He's always going to get volume. But, I mean, he just looks lost out there. He really doesn't want to go to the rim at all or play in the paint. And the spot where he's good when you watch him is on the defensive rebounding end. Offensive side, he can't get an offensive rebound because he's always 27 feet away from the basket. Wherever he's hiding, it's nowhere near the rim. So he can't offensive rebound, but he can defensive rebound. If he does shoot it well here, they could very well change it. But I'll tell you what I played, Skee. I played Minnesota team total over 104.5. They've gotten there every single game, 105 or better, despite all the garbage in the last 4 minutes of the game because Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have been straight up trashed the last 4 minutes of every single game. But again, despite all that, they've gotten to 105 every single time. I think Lively is a big deal. Gafford's a guy used to play in 21, 22 minutes, not 34, 35, like he's probably going to be asked to tonight. And even with Maxi Kleber back, Maxi Kleber is not a rim protector. He's not a guy. He's going to float around the 3-point line and take some shots from there and do his best to play defense, but I don't know what he'll be worth having 9 games off. For that reason, I think that Minnesota will ultra aggressively attack the rim. Anthony Edwards, to Kyle's point, that was one big difference in their game. Anthony Edwards attacked the rim in that game for 3 quarters at least, and then he decided not to show up anymore. So I think you'll see more of that, especially without Gafford in the game. And their 2-point shooting has been pretty good, and they made it to the free throw line a lot more last game, Skee. So to me, if you have a team that's not played great for the final 4 minutes of every game in the series in the fourth quarter. If you have a team where their second leading star hasn't shot the ball well at all, and they've still gotten to 105 every time, it makes perfect sense to me to play over 104.5 one more time when one of the best defenders on the other side isn't available. And Gafford could get gassed. I mean, I don't know. They're going to ask him to play a lot more minutes than he's used to again. So I think we might see Dallas's defense crumble a little bit here, especially on the interior at certain times. That doesn't mean I don't think Dallas can't outscore him, though, Skee, because looking at what Kyrie and Luka do, it's like whatever they want to do, they're going to do. Side to this real quick so that you can talk and me and Kyle don't take up your whole show. PJ Washington over 12.5 points to me seems like a great prop bet here tonight. Without Lively in, I think that drop coverage Minnesota's been playing goes out the window. They're going to push up into the paint a little bit more because to stop those drives, and PJ just gets open. And PJ is going to be asked to do a little bit on the offensive end underneath the rim without Lively presence. So 12.5 just seemed very, very low to me.
Yeah, good stuff. It's a couple things that you said and Kyle said that I kind of feel like correlate. And just before I said something about it, didn't want to forget this comment. We mentioned him.
Yes.
And his point prop was only like 3.5, I think, the other day when we were talking, and he's been damn good. So I would look at him as well. When I hear both of you guys talk, I feel like saying the Wolves found something or the Wolves can be better, or like the only way the Wolves win this game is by improving offensively. Because I feel like they've tried everything on defense. That's what I was referring to. Like, they've done the drop coverage. They've gone up to the level screen. They've Kyle, this is what I was saying too, because this is the point you push back on. I was saying the Wolves have tried everything defensively. Like, they've done the drop coverage. They've gone up to level screen. They've switched. They've hedged and recovered. They've blitzed Luka, and it hasn't mattered what they've done. Luka has found a way to either score himself or, get his teammates in a position where he can get them to rock and they can score. So I just don't know what else Minnesota can do on defense. I do think they can improve on offense, though. And to Rob's point about, missing Lively should make things even a little bit easier. So I think the over is worth a shot here. And if I have to say, I think Scott Foster is going to be the executioner tonight. I think it's over with.
Is there any numbers that support that Scott Foster extends series? I know everyone says that. I just meant, is that like an actual thing, or is that just something people say?
He did for a while, but I feel like more recently he's been the executioner.
Because how like those narratives get started and there's no actual fact to them. That's just something people say. I was just always curious about that.
Yeah, it was a thing for a while, but lately I feel like not as much. Anything else you guys want to share, or we can move it on over to best bets? All right.
I think you covered it all.
Cool. So we did a good job. We talked some WNBA. Kyle dropped off some MLB. We talked the NBA game. Now it's about that time we move over to best bets, and we'll go to Kyle first. I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. I know you're not going to promote anything, so I'll do it for you. You're going to go – you guys need to go over to Kyle on Twitter. He'll post everything he does, and also Kyle Kirms on YouTube, doing work on the diamond, like S. said earlier, and doing work in all sports. So a great follow. Make sure you guys check him out. And Kyle, maybe a best bet you like a little bit more than the rest for the show. Any sport.
Yeah, I guess if you put a gun to my head and said I want one bet that wins tonight, I probably would give you the Cleveland money line at -130 that I talked about. I do think Angels +160 is worth a shot, like I said. I also bet Twins first 5 on the money line. It's at +120, and a lot of people are going to be leaning the other way on that one, specifically because, hold on one sec, let me pull it up. Specifically because of the pitching matchup. It's Cole Reagans against Woods Richardson, which people regard him as a bad pitcher. But if you actually look at the numbers, I mean, the Royals don't hit nearly as well on the road, and Woods Richardson has actually dealt a little bit. I mean, he's not excellent, but he's pitched well at home a couple times, and I think the Royals lineup as a whole is overvalued on the road. So I did take the Twins on the first 5 at +120 too. So I got that one. But best bet, I'd probably say go with Cleveland money line -130.
All right, good stuff there from Kyle. Veno, I'll ask you the same. Anything you would like to promote? And I'll do a little bit for you this time too. I know we can check you out on wagertalk.com. And like he always tells you guys, the link to both of our pages are in the description to the video. So let the people know maybe how you've been doing and the best bet for the show.
Yeah, we said it earlier, Skee. It's been pretty good since April the 1st in the NBA over there at Wagertalk, plus 46 units. So we'll look to get it going. Like I said, last night 0-2 wasn't pleasing to watch Indiana fail at the end of that game. But I do like this Minnesota team total. Again, when we do that NBA tip-off show over at Wagertalk, for 4 or 5 years now, I mean, the lead phrase out of all of us, sort of the catchphrase has been, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Minnesota's team total isn't broke. It's been 105 or better every game, and the odds makers asking us for 104.5. 105 one more time. I think we pointed out where we think there can be some advantages tonight. God forbid Karl Anthony Towns decides to make a couple threes. I think it'll be a heck of a lot easier if he does help us out here. But I do see them scoring. Again, despite all the shortcomings, they've still gotten here 3 straight times. No reason to think they won't get here a 4th in this particular situation, which is desperation. 0-3. So Minnesota team total up and over 104.5. Best bet.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone get blasted, like roasted, as bad as Karl Anthony Towns in the Discord the other night. I mean, it was like hate speech. It was like this guy was just power messages flooding in of everyone talking shit. I guess most of us had the Wolves. I was on Minnesota. It was
I
tough.
think it's rightfully so. I was sitting at, watching that game at the book next to a guy who also had Karl Anthony Towns points over, and you should have heard from the profanity coming out of his mouth all night.
Yeah, exactly.
We were best friends, and what's crazy is I want to do it again, but I don't want to say it here in front of my friends, so I'll just do it quietly,
privately, in the privacy of your own home.
Right, that's right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh man.
My best bet. I'm not going to give you NBA today just because it's one of those rare times where I actually have a 5% on the game today. So my best bet for the show, I will go to the WNBA. I really like how Rob talked about that Seattle and Chicago game, but I'm not going to go there. I think I'll stay along the lines of what we always say. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What we've seen so far is Indiana, whether they're a slow starting team or teams just, they have a target on their back. I think it's a combination of both. And after they just came back and beat the Sparks, and the Sparks also, being the opposite of that, being a strong starting team and bad finishing team, I think we're getting a good number. I think we have to go Sparks first half +3. That'll be my best bet for the show.
Sparks first half. Let me glance. I'm
high risk, Kyle.
I don't know. I'm 0-1. I'm 0-1, man, in the WNBA. You like Sparks first half, huh?
Yeah, Sparks first half +3 would be my play.
What about the money line at +150 here?
For the first half?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I definitely think they can be winning after the first half. I like the 3 only because I feel like you're getting, a full game is 4.5. You're getting 3 on the first half. I just feel like that was a pretty solid difference. But I think they can win too. Kyle, appreciate you stopping by. Veno, always appreciate you joining as well. And there will be another show at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the OG show. So until then, best of luck if you tell. Good luck, everybody, on all your action. And we'll catch you guys later. Peace.